Yes, when I say Mavericks on the, you say move. Mavericks on the, Mavericks on the. There we go. I love when the crowd participates in this conversation. So if you are anywhere in the vicinity, we invite you to come over and take a seat. You guys want to come over and take a seat? Yeah? No? All right. You want to come over and take a seat? Ah, you're going to eat. All right. Well, have a good dinner. All right, if this is your first time seeing me, my name is Jamilah Corbitt. I am the host of Mavericks on the Move. We do this every second Wednesday of the month. This is our first time being in Baltimore. Our goal is to connect with the greater Baltimore business community, entrepreneurial community. So I welcome you. If you're catching this on the replay, please visit mavericksonthemove.com to grab your free ticket and to see what we are all about. I'm a brand strategist and a community builder. My company, I Am a Brand, helps corporations and entrepreneurial companies build customer-centric digital ecosystems. So our goal is to connect with the community and to share your stories right here on our stage, to learn, to have fun, to congregate, and to make some new connections that's going to enhance all of our bottom lines. All of us love making money, right? Yes, if you said no, I might be worried. So today's guest, it is my pleasure to introduce this young lady. She is an e-com marketing strategist that helps business owners expand their earnings, business awareness, and create a life of freedom using traffic-generating strategies. This Baltimore native is a top producer and earner on Amazon, Shopify, eBay, and other online marketing places. She recently published her book, From Pain to Power. Please help me welcome Dallas Gordon. Dallas. Hi. So before we get started, before we really get into the meat and potatoes, you guys like my singing? Yeah, you know you do. Tell people what your book is about, From Pain to Power.
From Pain to Power, it's a story about getting stuck. And I was stuck for a good period of time in my life, going through some things. Like most people feel like problems are coming their way nonstop, over and over and over again. And that was where I was when I wrote the book. And I'm talking about growing through what you go through. So having the ability to be able to change perspective when you're going through rough times is what the book is about. So I'm kind of starting with my own personal story with losing my dad, grieving him, and all of the things that were happening during the time of writing this book, and how I had to change my mindset and how I viewed the challenges that I was going through to kind of cross over into a stronger place.
Now, you said a mouthful there, but it was a delicious mouthful of meat and potatoes, because as entrepreneurs or as people that are professionals, we all have our battles, right? We all have our struggles, our troubles, and the things that we're dealing with. And today we're going to be talking about monetizing your message, and you were able to effectively monetize your message. And I've read your book, by the way. You can purchase this on Amazon. The book is amazing, but it actually has nothing to do with marketing, your expertise, but it has a lot to do with your mindset, which is important when you're a professional, when you're running your own company. So what inspired you to begin writing this book that's not marketing or business related?
Well, my entire life since a child, I've always written, always wrote, like different books, and just kind of played around with it. And I think that, you know, growing up, I allowed kind of being a perfectionist to kind of get in the way. And my dad used to always encourage me, you know, you need to take this serious. You need to write more. So I think I shared recently that I felt like most people do, like I had time. Like I didn't need to take myself serious. This is one of my passions, is writing. And I didn't feel like I really needed to take that serious. But when the rug was pulled from under me and those things happened in my life, I realized that I needed to do it, make it happen, get this message out there. And, I talk about business all the time, but I also have that other side of me, which I feel like is a great part of my purpose, to get people into that change of perspective, to get people to see things differently so that they can live, more free in life.
And you conduct webinars about this. I've actually attended one of your webinars when it came to the mindset shift and what it takes to earn $30,000 a month, because you did have a $30,000 month, and one of the biggest contributing factor was that mindset shift and really getting into a different mindset. So how long did it take to write this best-selling masterpiece?
It really didn't take long. It almost felt like it was like an overnight project. I had some core people to come into my life to really kind of push on me to get it done. So
you're welcome. I'm just
right.
playing. You don't have to give me any credit.
One of them, though. I did have like a few friends that were put on my path who pushed me, to come on, now's the time. You need to get this written. You need to write this book.
And it's beautiful. And how many authors do we have in the audience? Anyone? Are you guys thinking about writing a book? No? Not now? So just in case you are, as a first-time author, can you walk us through conception to actual publishing the book? Like, what steps did you take? Like, step one, did you record yourself, manuscript? Walk us through that process.
Step one is to get your story out there. Can you hear me? Okay, yeah, my mic is real low. Can you hear me? Yeah. All right. Step one is to get your story out there. So if you have a story that you want to tell, it's to get it out by all means possible. It could be recording yourself while you're driving, on the way to work, talking out the book. It could be with a friend. I had a friend who actually we got on an Uber call. Have you heard of the recording? And we would talk through the book. So we would have conversations. She would ask me questions and get me to pour out to her. And then I would have those recordings transcribed. So with me, a mom of three, a wife, business, all of these things that I'm juggling, there was no excuse I could make for myself, because you could literally record your book, have it transcribed. And what I would say is just make sure that you just write it all out. Don't be a perfectionist about it, because honestly, that's what stopped me all this time, is being too much of a perfectionist, thinking worrying what the world would think about me, not sure if I should release the book. So just write. Just write all the way to the end. That's basically what got me through. And then for me, I like to outsource a lot of things. I know that a lot of people do go the self-publishing, route, and maybe I will next time. But for me, it was easier because of my lifestyle to hire someone to handle the publishing and all of that. So the rest was smooth sailing once everything was written. Pretty much, I sent it to an editing and publishing company. They edited the book and then published it. So it was quick.
And this mic really doesn't work. I don't know what's happening. Pause real quick. This one. Mic check. Thank you. Yep. Thank you. Well, back to our regularly scheduled program. Hold it. All right, where were we? Tips for aspiring authors.
So you just want to write your story all the way out. One mistake that I made was I did all of these live videos and a whole rack of live videos, and I tried to just have someone to transcribe the book from my live videos. So I kind of, so I mean, people do that, but I feel like I took the lazy way out at first, and I had to go back to the drawing board and still do more work and have to really finish the book. So, yeah.
May I ask the audience a question? Why, if you're not considering writing a book, what's the reason why you're not? Does anyone want to share?
I feel like it's too early for me right now. Yeah, I just have other things that I want to focus on before because I know, like, I have actually good friends that have written a book, and I mean, it took them an immense amount of time and edits, and hers was, a young adult novel, more like fiction is the.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
Yeah, so I mean, I know how much time and effort that she has to dedicate to that. And I have things I want to focus on before that. So, I mean, I consider doing, it's more of a memoir or things like that kind of later. Not a lot of big things that I want to do.
Tammy? All right. Okay. Well, though I love to understand and take a pulse of the audience just to make sure that our conversation is relevant in case you're thinking about it in the future, whether you want to write a memoir or you think it's too early in the game for you right now. And that leads me to my next point, which is when it comes to monetizing our message, I think people, what stops them is, number one, the fear of perfection. Number two, they think they don't have a story. In your case, you may not think you have a story yet. Maybe you haven't lived enough. But it's not about creating a story. It's more so about you came from here to here, and the story is the gap. How did you get from point A to point B? So you graduated college. Now you're getting experience in social media marketing. There's a story behind that. There's things that you're learning. So the gap from you graduating college to you securing this position and to you learning, that learning gap is your story right there. And so give us some tips, some mindset hack tips for strengthening the mind so that we can get into the mindset of thinking about how we can write a book or living a positive life and monetizing our message.
Okay. So one thing I do want to say about writing a book is that a book is a very powerful way to use whatever craft that you have, no matter whether you're a graphic designer, artist, marketer, social media strategist, no matter what you do, a book is a great way to showcase that and to give advice. People are really into convenience and buying information. So even with art, I think that when people think of a book, they think of they have to write words. I've seen a lot of great books with no words, only pictures.
Yes. One of my good friends published a book with just his artwork, and he sells it for like $200 and something dollars.
Mm-hmm. Because some people, and one thing I had to realize is that everybody doesn't learn in the same way. So some people who are your followers or your audience or your potential customers, they may not necessarily, let's say you're a video person, they may not necessarily be into video. Or you like to record audios or podcasts, they may not necessarily be into podcasts. Somebody in your audience or a large part of your audience may actually be into reading or looking at a picture book or something like that. So it's a very powerful way, whether big or small. Like before this book, I don't know if you remember, but I dropped an ebook. Remember that about drop shipping? I just designed it.
I don't know if I remember that.
Really?
You published so much, I can't keep up.
But I dropped an ebook. It was about drop shipping. It was about people who are new to selling online. It's an A to Z guide teaching people how to drop ship, because I realized, you know what, my whole audience doesn't want to watch videos. Some of them want to read the content. And I actually, after a while, made the book free. And I give it to people in exchange for getting on my email list. But they love the information. It's easy for them. So these are just things you can do to broaden your audience, broaden your customer, your potential customers, when you give them that information that they're looking for. And a book is a great way to do that.
That was actually a good answer. But I did ask for mine. That was a totally different angle because I asked for mindset hacks. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay because you made a great point. I've published a lot of ebooks, and like Dallas said, you can use that to exchange information. So I'm going to give you this ebook in exchange to get your contact information. I can get you on my list, nurture you, eventually sell you. This is all part of building your community. Again, we're both community builders, and my company specializes in building communities. And one of those things is getting people onto your list, nurturing them, building a community, and creating repeat buyers. So it starts with, here, I want to give you something, or here's some information that can help you, and then what they do with the information, that's on them. But it creates that trust. Yeah. So back to your book, though. Back to your book, because we could talk about that all night. Back to your book. I do want some. Can you please share some of the top mindset hacks that you have in your book, because that I feel that some of them can help entrepreneurs and us on our journey.
Okay, so some mindset hacks that I share in the book, I'm basically talking about changing your perspective. So the difference between someone who is a champion, they get through all of their issues and they seem like they're resilient, is their perspective, is their mindset. Some people allow problems and challenges to sabotage everything that they're trying to do, bring down their mood, whatever the situation might be. And other people allow their challenges to strengthen them. So it's how you perceive what you're going through. So in my situation, I was an entrepreneur, a mom, a wife, a friend, all these different, titles and things that I was juggling. But at the same time, I felt like everything was caving down on me. And I had a choice, to let that have its way with me, or was I going to stand up and change my perspective and see what I could learn from this and grow through this. You know how they say grow through what you go through. I had that choice. So I think it's all about a choice. You can either choose to allow your problems to drown you out, or you can choose to allow your problems to mold you and shape you and develop you into a better person, whether you're aiming to be the best ever entrepreneur, the best ever lover, the best ever whatever you're trying to do. You have a choice to let your problems break you or let them mold and shape you and grow. We always are going to have problems. So it's just how we perceive it,
Affirmations. You talk about affirmations in your book, and that's one of the mindset hacks as well. We've spoken at length about affirmations, and Dallas is a big I need to have affirmations fan. Yeah. And she actually gave me some that really helped me shift my mindset and create more opportunities for me, or open myself up to more opportunities. So can you share some affirmations, and why are they important, especially for entrepreneurs?
Okay. So you want me to share some actual affirmations?
Yeah.
Okay. One of my favorites is, I carry myself as one who owns the earth because I do.
That's one.
Right. That's one of my favorite affirmations, because in a world like we live in, there's lots of chatter, and a lot of people are telling us who we should and shouldn't be. But what are you telling yourself? So if you're not talking to yourself all the time, and you don't have that self-chatter going on consistently and constantly, you can sway depending on what people think of you. Like when you wake up this morning and you go out there and you get your clients, or whatever it is you need to get out there and get, are you going to allow how people are responding to you to determine how you're going to get out there? Or are you going to talk to yourself and allow your own self-chatter to determine which direction you're going in? So that's the importance of affirmations. It's loud in this world. People are telling you what you should say, what you should do, what you should believe in, who you should love. All these things people are telling you that you need to do. You need to get married. Oh, no. You need to be single. Oh, no. You should work a 9 to 5. You got to go to college. Oh, no. People have their opinions, but what do you say about you? That's more important,
Yes.
It's low again.
I think something's wrong with the cord. Sorry, guys. We're just going to have to run with one mic. Yeah, just one mic. It's okay. So you wrote this book, and just because you wrote it, doesn't automatically translate to sales. You're in sales, right? You're a sales guy. You understand as well in dealing in social media. Just because you put a post out there, just because you publish a video, just because you call a client the first time, that doesn't translate to a sale automatically. Same thing with a book. Just when you launched your book, you actually had a virtual launch party and got the community involved and rallied behind you. Can you talk a little bit about using your marketing background to amplify your reach and some launch tactics that you used for your book?
Marketing is marketing. So if you know marketing and you know how to get yourself out there, no matter what your message is, you can put your skills behind that message. So I basically took my business knowledge and how I market anything I do, any course or anything else I do, and I put that behind my book. That's what I did. So I planned for it. I started talking about it. First, I started buzzing about the book, kind of dropping little clues to my audience, followers, friends, whoever would listen, just dropping little clues. This book is coming. I'm excited about it. And then over time, I built a email list for the book. So I started to say, kind of share little tidbits about my story, what the book was about, and I would do broadcasts and things like that, talking about just anything, really. And then towards the end, I would say, if you want to be on the list to find out more about when...
Call to action.
Yes, my call to action. When this book is going to come out, get on my free list for book updates. So then I started building this email list specifically for my book launch and building up anticipation about the book, curiosity about the book, sharing little tidbits from the book. Exactly, FOMO. And over time, people began following along with my journey. They became invested into my project. I would share my story about how I've always wanted to write. I let the spirit of perfectionism get in my way, and I'm actually doing this, guys. Are you excited for me? So other people begin to get invested in your project when you start to share your story.
You guys, this is crazy. Storytelling. So you're saying storytelling was a big part of your launch tactics, and even so storytelling behind the story is how you sold the story and how people bought into your story. And that's all about building a community and getting the community behind you, creating brand advocates. And you had testimonials, reviews, live streams, and then eventually word of mouth.
So when people get excited about you and they get invested in your dream, your journey, guess what? They start to tell their friends, their family. We have some marketers here, so you know how it works. If you can get people excited about something and you can get them invested in what your messaging is or your story behind the brand, then they begin to buzz and tell their friends, you got to help her hit bestseller. Come on. I had people who actually said, let's go live so that we can get my audience involved. So when people when they buy into your story, they're willing to help you, along your journey.
And I've definitely bought into your story way before you even wrote this book. And this is one of the reasons why Dallas is sharing the stage with us as well, is because I wanted to share my audience with her via video, because this is going to live forever. So that's a really important tidbit. And this method can be applied to a course, a book, a webinar, event, right?
Right. It could be applied to anything that you want to do, literally anything, any business, any idea. It can be applied to that. Same strategies.
And so in the book, I want to take it back to the book, because in the book, you went through some real tough times, including losing your father, as you mentioned earlier. I think all of us are battling something in our lives. We touched on that a little bit. But that makes your story relatable. When was your real turning point, and when did you know things would get better for you?
That's a good one. Let's see. Well, yeah. My turning point was when, regardless of how what I was going through made me feel when I still had to show up. Like, I still had to run my business. I still had to speak to people. I still had to inspire people. And inspiring people goes further than, just business. It's at home. Like, my kids, my family needs me. I realized that I still had to show up into my life regardless of how I felt. And I think that after I did that and I took the focus off of my sorrows and what was going wrong, and I started putting my focus more on people. And how can I solve their problem? How can I encourage them today? How can I motivate them? When I started doing that, I realized, wow, I feel better. This feels great. It feels great to pour into somebody else. I think the more that I kept showing up, regardless of how I felt or how I felt discouraged or sad or whatever I felt, I would continue to show up. I think that I started to see the light kind of like at the end of the tunnel.
And that's actually all about being an entrepreneur as well, because you have to show up even when you don't feel like it. So even when sales are low, even when the customer won't call you back, even when you've had a great loss in your family, you still have to show up, because you showing up is dependent upon the success of your company, the morale of your company. So you can't just tuck yourself in at night and say, "Oh, I'm not ever gonna get up ever again." And so, what advice would you give to someone who's had a great loss in their life, or someone who's grieving a loved one while trying to build their business or while running a company? Because that could be super tough.
Maybe I have a different perspective because I had other people that I felt like I was surviving for. I couldn't let my kids see me laying in bed for hours with the curtains, closed, just crying. I had to push forward. So what I would say, to speak for myself, I took all the pain. I took every last bit of the pain that I felt, and I poured into other people with that. So I reversed it. So on the days that I wanted to feel depressed, sad, I wanted to grieve my dad, I just wanted to lay in bed, or all the situations that trickled in alongside my dad too. It's all in the book. But instead of me laying there with my sorrows, I reversed my sorrows and turned it into positive energy every time. Probably not every time. I had my days. But for the most part, that's how I think that someone who's stuck, they're grieving, and I talk about in the book that grieving could be anything. It literally could. Like, it could be somebody you love, a job, a business idea, a business partner that you thought you were going to work with and you didn't work out. It could be a lover or, spouse that you're no longer anymore. Maybe it's divorce that you're grieving. So anytime something that you really hope for, that you really have faith for in your life, it goes sour. And it looks like it's not going to happen, especially when you've put and invested a lot of time and energy into this thing. A grieving process can happen. So you have a choice to cry, grieve, be sad, just let it continue, or you have a choice to reverse it. When you begin to reverse it and turn your negatives into positives, it's a very powerful thing. I call that your superpower. We all have it.
I was just asking them what their professional superpower was a little earlier, so I like how you tied that in. And it's really easy to become discouraged in our entrepreneurial journeys, whether it's we don't get the customer, we lose a client, or what have you. In your book, you talked about what to do when you're feeling discouraged specifically. Can you expound on some of those tips that you have in here, if you can remember?
Okay. Well, one of the things I say in my book is give yourself permission. So if you're going through something or something isn't working out the way that you feel like it should, there is going to be a period of time that you're not going to be yourself. Give yourself permission. You are human. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to feel sad about that thing. You are allowed. No one can take that permission from you. I know that when, as I said, a big turning point for me, because I didn't expect for my dad to be gone. Like, I expected for him to grow old with us and, be with the kids and see their milestones. And he was gone out of nowhere. And I was like, whoa. Like, this really pulled the rug from under me. This support system I'm used to having, it was pulled from under me. I literally tucked my feelings away to be strong for my mom and my brother. I was like really strong for them. And I didn't give myself permission to feel. So what I would say is it's okay to go through your process. It's all a part of your journey, whether it seems ugly, sticky, hard, sad, it's all a part of your process. So one of the tips that I give in there is to give yourself permission. That's one of the first steps, because everybody goes through change differently. Some people grieve quietly. They never cry. No one would ever know that they were sad about something. And some of my closest friends had no idea that I was going through like I was, because I'm not the call a friend person when I'm going through stuff. I kind of hold stuff in and expect people to know. So that's one of the tips I give in my book, is to give yourself permission.
And I love that, because I think as leaders of our companies, or as a leader in general, you want to put on this hard exterior, and you don't want anyone to see how vulnerable you are, but you have to give yourself that permission to grieve. You have to give yourself permission to talk to people, to explain to people what's happening in your disposition and why you're like this. And so in chapter 9, I want to just take it back just a little bit, because you touched on this a little bit, but I want to dig a little deeper into it. You talked about the idea of paying it forward. This can be applied to professionals and entrepreneurs alike. Can you speak on this a little bit, about the idea of paying it forward?
Chapter 9. Yeah. Okay. So, wow. So with paying it forward, I talk about how if you want to receive in your life, and receiving is in any area. It could be in any area. You want to grow, you want to receive, you want change in your life. A very powerful thing is the law of giving and paying it forward. And I talk about in that book how I decided to go into a challenge with some other people. You remember my movement called Make the Shift, yeah. So we went into a challenge in this movement I started, which was the Pay It Forward Challenge. So in this challenge, you would find people on the street, anybody you ran into who you felt like you wanted to pay it forward to. And you could pay forward anything, a compliment. You know, I gave people compliments. I gave my assistant money. I gave her a bonus. Just, she didn't deserve it. But I gave it to her anyway, because I was paying it forward, right? So what I noticed was that I got into like this surge of like powerful energy. And there is a law that says when you give, the universe must return that to you in some way. So I started to notice that paying it forward did a few things for me. One of the things it did for me was it took my mind off of my pain. And I began to get refocused onto giving to someone else. So instead of me wallowing in my sorrow, I gave to somebody else. I put a smile on somebody else's face. You know how many people just want a compliment? You know how many people just want to smile, you know, on a particular day, right? That Colgate smile. Some people just want that smile, and that makes up their whole day. So I just gave to people wherever I went, and I started to notice, you know, that coming back to me. Like I think I shared in a book, Starbucks used to be my favorite. So I pulled up in the drive-thru and ordered my favorite drink and my favorite dessert. Makes my whole day better. And when I got up to the drive-thru window, the girls looked confused. And I'm like, what's going on? How much? And she's like, oh, the manager said you're good. You can just go. So I started, and then I went to the toll. I was driving to D.C. to one of y'all's events, and I was going through the toll, and the guy at the toll booth said, no worries, go ahead through. You're taking care of the car before you pay for you. And for somebody who always gives but doesn't receive much, this blessed me. Like every little trick. This is my last one. I went to Walgreens with my children, 2 taller girls. One is 3, one is 5. My 5-year-old always, you know how kids always ask for stuff, you know, wherever you go. So I'm no. We're coming in here to get one thing. We're going to go. We get up to the counter. This lady at the counter says, I'm buying candy for my kids. Your girls can pick out whatever they want. I'm going to take care of it. So it wasn't that I didn't have it, but it was her act of kindness. Who does that? Like, it was just random acts of kindness that were coming back to me that was letting me know, wow, you're on the right track. This is how you heal. You know, you heal from wherever you're stuck, whatever you're grieving, by pouring into others and paying it forward.
Wow. I love your stories and I love the testimonies. And I remember living vicariously through you as you're experiencing all of these blessings in your life. I'm like, wow, I wish I would find $20 on the floor. I think you found $20 on the ground. Just little stuff like that. And it's all in the idea of paying it forward. And we can do that in our entrepreneurial life. We can do that in our professional life, whether you're working with someone and maybe you have a younger employee, mentoring them, showing them the ropes. I remember my mentor a couple years ago. He's a multimillionaire entrepreneur. I went to him. I didn't know him from Adam. I think I interviewed him for my HuffPost column. And afterwards I was like, hey, would you mind being my mentor? Because I was new in entrepreneurship and I didn't know what I was doing. I was losing a lot of money. He was like, sure. And he mentored me over a 6-month period, tripled my revenue as a result of working with him. And that was him for him. That was him paying it forward. So how can we pay it forward in our own lives? And ever since him, I've had that mindset, the mentality of paying it forward. Mavericks on the Move is me paying it forward to other entrepreneurs, to other business professionals. I'm not here selling. I'm not here doing any of that. It's literally paying it forward, creating relationships. And so I just want to encourage you guys to figure out ways you can pay it forward in your own life. And so you share some great tools in the book. What are your favorite?
My favorite tools have to be the affirmations. You know that how I feel about affirmations only because they have literally changed my life. I came from being the most negative person. Like, I just woke up in the morning expecting for bad to happen. Like, that was me all day.
I don't think I knew you then.
Yeah, you didn't know me then. But one thing that I want to say to everyone listening to this is that, you know, if you have been programmed to be more negative, maybe you grew up around a very negative family. Maybe your parent or guardian told you nothing but negative things about you. So because that happened for so long and that negative was being put in over and over again, you have a very low view of yourself, a less than view of yourself. And just like it took years to develop that negative mindset, it's going to take some time to turn that around. So I say in the book that you take your positive thinking one thought at a time, not one day at a time. It's one thought at a time, meaning that every negative thought, or as many as possible that come to you, you quickly replace them with a positive thought. That began to change my life. So I did that for 30 days. I wrote my affirmations at night, and I have the formula in the book, so I'm not going to give it away. I call it the antidote, right? I wrote them at night. I said them in the morning. I lived with these affirmations for 30 days and experienced a breakthrough on the 30th day. And I've realized how much that changed my life. So now, as you grow, your affirmations will grow with you. They will change as you aspire to reach higher heights and become a different person and grow through what you go through. And you're keeping on making those moves and growing and changing. Your affirmations will change with you. So I live by that self-talk. I talk to myself daily. I don't care who thinks it's crazy. My kids, Mommy, who are you talking to? I'm talking to me. I'm talking to myself because if I don't talk to myself, who am I going to listen to? What's the world going to say about me if I'm not talking to myself? I think it's important.
Woo-wee. So a little birdie told me that you have something for our audience. Would you mind sharing what that is?
And it's in my book, so I don't give it out wrong. So I do have a giveaway. I have some affirmation cards. Speaking of affirmations, because they are my favorite, they go along with the book, and they are, I believe, 10 or more of my absolute favorite affirmations that have changed my life. And you can get those at bit.ly/affirm your life -FB, like Facebook. So you can get them if you're on Facebook. It's all lowercase. All lowercase. So bit.ly/affirm your life -Facebook. And they'll come right to your messenger. Another freebie.
Look at you integrating Facebook chat. Sidebar, anyone using chatbots for Facebook? No. We're going to have a whole conversation on this, y'all. We're going to talk about some marketing strategies in an upcoming Mavericks on the Move event. We love having conversations like this. This one was mindset centered because it's really important for us to develop a certain mindset in our entrepreneurial journeys. You can't have those $100,000 months, those $1 million years, $3 million years, unless you have the mindset to go with that. Because what I found is, even if you're making, let's say you're at $500,000 of revenue a year, in order to break through the ceiling. So maybe you're at $500,000, but maybe you've been there for the last 2 years. So you're like, how am I going to get to $1 million? You have to first shift your mindset, and shifting your mindset will cause you to first look within, and then the answers will kind of come to you, and then you'll start looking at your business practices, your processes, and then eventually you'll break through that ceiling. We're not going to get into that today, again, because we can't touch on everything today, but it all starts with the mindset, which is why I wanted to kick off this event in Baltimore with the mindset shift. So lastly, how can people purchase your book directly?
You can purchase it on Amazon by searching From Pain to Power by Dallas Gordon, or you can go to bit.ly/From Pain to Power, all lowercase.
So again, that's bit.ly from pain to TO power. And to get the free affirmations, it's bit.ly/
Affirm Your Life -FB.
All right, you guys, let's give Dallas another round of applause. We're shaking with our left hand. Don't go anywhere, because now this is the fun part of the program. Oh, you're like, Jamilah, what's happening? Now, this is the part of, don't say I didn't warn you. This is the part of the program where I want you guys to come up and share what you do in 30 seconds or less. So this is like an elevator pitch without being on the elevator. Who would like to go first? All righty. Let's give them a round of applause. Just stand in front of the cameras.
It's bright up here.
Hold on. Because I'm going to time you.
Okay, see, like, I get excited, so I love doing this. So you always got to put yourself in uncomfortable positions to grow.
Here we go, and go.
All right, so my name is Sean Dahl. I work for a company called MB Branding. We're a full-service marketing company, everything from building a website to fixing a website so it shows up on a cell phone. But the company I work for is all about the give back. So we want to pay it forward, just like you guys were talking about. We do a lot of classes, teaching and training about websites, about social media, about integrating everything, making sure it all works cohesively for your company. So that way, if you're going to take a lot of time and effort doing stuff on social media, we want to make sure it makes it profitable for your business. So see me afterwards if you, and boom, 30 seconds. Have a good one, guys.
Let's give another round of applause. Come on up here. Yeah. I'm looking at you, Alex. Let's give him a round of applause to encourage him. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds, okay?
Do I get a timer?
Yeah. Oh, I'm timing you. You ready?
All right. My name is Alexander. I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and I am an artist. I'm over here. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I'm an artist, I'm a art director, I'm a creative marketing specialist for a company called Positive Psyche in the Harbor, just down the street. I make paintings, I make graphic designs, I make logos, I make websites, I do a lot. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Let's give him another round of applause. Huh? No? Okay. All right. I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to volunteer you. So one of the things that I find helpful is when we do these type of events and we allow people to share the stage, the most effective pitches are the ones where you're sharing the benefit to the audience. So I'm going to always share what's in it for you. So let's think about We FM, WIIFM. Everyone is tuned into that station, the We FM station. So what's in it for you, the benefit for you? So I would always lead with that, and then eventually I'll tell you what I do. But what I do isn't important, not as important as what the benefit is that you can benefit from my expertise, if that even makes sense. I think I just made that up, but it's okay because you guys know what I'm saying. So this concludes Mavericks on the Move. Thank you so much for coming out. Again, this is our first event in Baltimore. Same thing happened in DC. They just became better and better and better as the community started to pour in, as we got the word out around the community. People started to come in, and I appreciate you guys. If you want to catch me again this month, I'll be speaking on October 23rd. I'll be at the Johns Hopkins entrepreneurial panel for their business school. If you want to come out to that, it's in DC. I'll also be conducting a workshop for Toastmasters. Any of you guys part of Toastmasters? Awesome organization. I'll be conducting a workshop as to how to integrate social media into your workplace culture, and that'll be before the next Mavericks on the Move event, so November the 2nd. So thank you again, and let's continue chatting and learning more about each other.